the channel. So, Mylar bagging 101. Many of you guys have emailed asking to do a video on Mylar bagging the food. I did a video like ages ago, probably over a year ago, but I totally appreciate that some of you have joined recently. So I thought, as I have a few things I need to Mylar bag, it's a good opportunity to make this video. And I'm going to try to make it as simple as possible because it is generally, guys, not very complicated, but do understand if you're just entering your prepping journey and somewhat things could be a little bit confusing. So I'm going to try cover a few bases and hopefully explain this without going into too much details and hopefully give you a good starting point to start Mylar bagging your food. Okay, first of all, I know some people confuse the difference between the Mylar bags and vacuum sealer bags. Okay, so this is a Mylar bag and this is a Mylar bag. They are foil bags lined with plastic. This thing here, it's a vacuum sealer bag. They're clear bags and you seal them with a vacuum sealer machine. Okay, so the difference between the Mylar bagging and the vacuum sealer style, that the vacuum sealer bags fail, and unfortunately more often than we want. So here I have an example of the porridge oats. Okay, 1 kilo porridge oats that were vacuum sealed pretty much at the same time. Okay, those ones here are still rock hard. That means the bag is still sealed. Yet this one here, you can see I can move the porridge oats, and that means that the vacuum has failed. And normally, guys, how that happens, if you're somewhat careless when you put those in a storage, if you put 2 and 2 together and stack them together, if they rub a little bit, a tiny pinhole, okay, and the air will enter the package, and that will deem our exercise pointless because now the porridge oats exposed to air just the same way if that would be in the original packaging, and that's not really going to prolong anything whatsoever. And unfortunately, little bugs, dust mites, flour mites and things like that can get into that. This is not the idea. Okay, so with Mylar bag we don't have this problem, although they're still pierceable. Okay, you still have to be super careful, and that's why, guys, you don't really, once you package the things in Mylar bag, you want to carefully store them away in a box or put them on the shelf, wherever you put them, and just leave them be. They are, although they're thick, okay, you still, the creases in the foil, you can see here, okay, this is porridge oats, okay, bagged on the 8th 23. You can see the little creases, like, it's natural what happens, okay. However, again, if you just kind of fold this a few times, right, move this too many times, it potentially could break the seal and they will inflate. Again, deem the package useful for its purposes. Okay, it's less likely to happen with the Mylars, okay, because they're much thicker, especially if you buy quality ones, but okay, it's still possible. So whatever you use, obviously be super careful when you store them. Okay, so as the Mylar bags, right, so I have my the most favorite sizes that I use. A little one here, okay, which is I think 18 by 26 centimeters. Okay, it takes a kilo of rice. Okay, this is what I normally go by because we buy things in kilo, and that works perfectly for me. And this one is like 30 by 40 something, excluding that. Okay, they both have the little standing thing, right? They're like pockets in the bottom, which I prefer. Again, you don't have to, but if you are standing them up, then it's a little bit easier to stand them up when they're full. Okay, and the prices of the bags does vary a lot, and it have been going up, which I'm sure you're aware anyway. So the best bet is keep an eye on the deal and find them. Another point is just keep an eye on the thickness, because cheaper doesn't always mean better, and quite often doesn't mean better. So just make sure that the bags are thick. When you get them, obviously kind of feel, if it feels too cheap, then the best to return them, guys, because again, they'll be more susceptible to breakage, or for you to sort of make little holes in them when you store them. Okay, but at the moment I appreciate get what's out there if it's available. So next thing, guys, for Mylar bags we will need oxygen absorbers, or deoxidizers as some people call them. Okay, they're little sachets. I have them individually purchased them individually bagged, which is absolutely bonus. And they're the little sachets that you put inside the Mylar bags before sealing that. And due to the chemical reaction, it's basically they start to rust inside, consuming all the oxygen inside your packet. I strongly suggest buying them individually wrapped, and I think they're still available on Amazon, because once you open the whole packet, that normally comes in like 50 or 100, they automatically start absorbing the oxygen. Yes, again, depleting their services if you wish. So if you put them in the jar, yes, you can seal the jar and keep opening it, but every time you open the jar, they'll suck in a bit of oxygen, and basically over the time they'll lose their ability to do the job properly in your Mylar bag. So having them individually sealed, that means I can just open one up, pop it in, and I don't have to do the bulk Mylar bagging to go through my whole lot of packaging to be able to make sure that they are a-okay. So another, guys, very important thing, those things also come in different sizes. They range anything from a 50cc to like 2000cc, cc being the cubic capacity. And somewhat it's, I know, totally confusing, because they don't really tell you what on earth does a 100cc thing mean. Well, let me tell you guys, right? 100cc oxygen absorber, okay, will yield you a capacity of consuming the oxygen in a 1 liter bag. Irrespectively, 200cc, it's a 2 liter bag. You see what I'm getting with this one? So this one is a 5 liter bag. I'm having a 500cc oxygen absorber, and this is what I have in here. Okay, so decide when you buy your bags, decide what the oxygen absorber you will need to go in your bag. There's no harm in using a bigger oxygen absorber in a smaller bag. This is what I'll be doing because this is all I have, and they were quite a bargain price. But doing this the other way around potentially will not work. Well, not potentially, it will not work. You would not absorb all the oxygen. Another thing to point out, guys, okay, and it happens all the time, and you've been emailing, when we seal something with the oxygen absorber, majority of the time, especially rice, it will look like it's been sucked in, like it's been vacuum sealed, because all the oxygen has been taken out. However, in many things like powdered soups and flour, okay, the vacuum sealer bag might not necessarily gonna look that sucked in. And it's not because it hasn't worked properly, guys. It's because the air only contains 20.9% oxygen, okay? So we only take in oxygen. There's other things like nitrogen left in the bag. So if you, for example, pick up your bag of crisps or say nachos, they actually bubbled up, but yet they're not stale. It's because they actually pack those things with nitrogen, okay? So do you understand what I'm saying? Don't panic. If you have used the correct oxygen absorber, correct sizing, if your bag hasn't sucked in, okay, then it's nothing to worry about. Rice is, as I said, is 99% of time rice will suck in because it's hard and it's kind of dense. Anything is a little bit more, a bit loose like flour, and sometimes even oats, doesn't always mean you're going to get this sucked in properly, so don't worry about that. So, and all thing we need, guys, to be able to do some Mylar bagging is scissors to open up a packet, and I've got some hair straighteners, okay, or you can use a normal iron. And the reason we're going to be using that is after we seal this, we're just going to iron this up to glue thing together. You can use an impulse sealer, which I have one of those, but you only put a thin line over seal, and to be fair, I prefer just to be overly cautious and make sure I seal this with the iron. So without further ado, let me just clear some space and we'll start Mylar bagging. Right, okay, a little bit better. Again, I'm gonna go with my rice, and I've got here 5 kilos of rice. Okay, and this bag takes that comfortably. Before you ask where do I get those bags, guys, you cannot get them anywhere. They were commercial type bag things for a manufacturer. I got it off eBay, but it's not something you can find, okay? They are super thick. You can find probably alternative somewhere, but it'll cost you. But nonetheless, you can feel, guys, the thickness of that. It's yeah, it's super thick. Right, so the messy job, rice. And again, just make sure, guys, there's no weevils in there, right? I recently found on one of my previous bagging sessions that good job was a small bag, there was a weevil in there. And I know the whole idea is the oxygen kills the eggs, or it would not kill the eggs, but it stops, it kills the weevils and it'll stop the eggs hatching, okay? But nonetheless, I didn't want to put anything of that kind in the Mylar bag. So just double check them, okay? It's easy to spot them. Right, so, I'm making a pig's mess of that one. every time. Do devote some time to this, because cleaning up afterwards, especially when you do flour, is a nightmare. Anyway, so let's get this out of the way. Ideally, you do need 2 hands or 2 people, but here we go. First, drop it in there. Right. Okay, 1 bag. See what I'm talking about, the base? Okay, it's quite wide, and because it's got handles, it's great as well. That's what I prefer. Okay, so the rice, guys, is up to here. Okay, it's very important to make sure that you do leave just a little bit of space to make sure you can actually get the air out and then close your little zip seal here, or grip seal. Okay, I'm gonna get some air out before I do it anyway. So I'm gonna put this here, because what I like to do is to basically put anything in the bags that you want. Okay, then open up oxygen absorbers, wash them in there, and then just seal them all at once. It's easier than just having the hair straightener just sitting here hot. Anyway, so next thing, let's go. Flour. Right, I have a gap of flour in my preps, because I chose kind of in a way specifically not to prep too much of it, because I know people do say they does go off after like 7 years, but I don't even have supply enough for, I don't even have enough supply for a year if there's no bread, so to be fair. So I've yeah, decided to buy some bread flour. Right, so I've got the Asda bread flour, and by volume, because it seems to be bigger than the rice, I don't think I'll fit 5 in there. I can't remember, I think I normally put 3 in the big ones, because they're 1.5 bags, 1.5 kilos. Right, so this. One. Okay, right. So we close that. You got to be careful when you squash this afterwards, because it will puff in your face. So let's just close that for a minute. Okay, so with that. And let's do some oats. Right, and I will have to repackage my failed oat, because, well, it's no good. So there it goes. Okay. Whew, dusty. Right. So this is 3 here. So I think you got the idea, right? It's super, super easy. Okay, so put them to the sides. Let me get this into the bin, and I get the hair straighteners on, and I'll show you how I do it. Okay, so the hair straighteners are warming up. Again, finding out the temperature, it seemed to be, not say a little bit tricky, but it seemed to be different for different thickness bags, which is understandable because it just melts it. It's not a big deal, but if you totally over melt it, like chew it, and it looks horrible. So for an average, guys, is between 170 and 160 degrees to be able to seal the bags. Okay, so whilst they're warming up, right, the important things, guys, as I mentioned, or I shall mention, that not everything can be put in Mylar bags. Things like beans, like rice, like pasta, you could, but I found it's kind of a little bit waste of Mylar bags, to be fair, because pasta keeps really, really well without any issues. I don't found that any bugs get and want to eat it or lay eggs in it. So, and also really, really important, guys, and I did a video separately on that, is not to Mylar bag with oxygen absorbers anything that has 10% or more moisture content. Things like side-dried tomatoes that are pliable, things like bananas, especially if they're not totally crispy, they're pliable, like raisins, any other berries, do not put them with the oxygen absorber. Because of the moisture content and the fact that we're going to be taking out all of the oxygen, okay, it's got high possibility of developing a botulism bacteria, which we don't want. You can't smell it, obviously, you can't see it, but it could really do you quite a lot of harm. So very important not to just stick to the long-term things that we know are obviously required to be in the Mylar bags, okay? And things like salt doesn't need to be there whatsoever, and the same is with sugar, guys, okay? Because sugar will go really hard, like a brick hard, with the oxygen absorber, and generally things don't want to go in there. I tell you, like, guys, ants can go in the sugar, okay? But if you're not keeping them anywhere near your kind of your patio doors or the windows, then you should be absolutely fine, okay? So, right, let's go with our rice. So, the idea is, okay, let's put oxygen absorber in there goes, in there, okay, and the idea is trying to squish out as much as air as possible, but at the same time still trying to be kind to the bag without potentially kinking it too much, okay? So you see the kind of effect that we have. It's already kind of not so sucked in, but there's not a lot of air in there, okay? So what I'm gonna do, okay, is we now just, I'll show you afterwards actually, sorry. Got my straighteners, they're heated up. And all we do is we're gonna, press the button. Hopefully you can see that it's starting to melt the plastic together. Okay. It's a tad awkward with the handle, okay? Because I've got the like fluctuated plates, and because we have a hole in there, I have to make sure I'm gonna go through the hole, because obviously any tiny bit that is not sealed, Ziploc is not particularly airtight, not in many cases. So I want to make sure, if you do have handles, is to go through the handle like that, okay? Make sure you seal around. Okay, so basically that. You can see it starts crinkling, obviously it's melting together. Okay, so that's, obviously it gets really, really hot, so be careful. So that's one, put it in there. Let's have, is that flour? Yeah, okay. Let's put one in our flour thing. Some people say you can put this first and then put products on top. I do them last because, well, if I put it first, I feel like I'm going to forget whether I put it on or not. So anyway, the same thing with flour, but obviously it's going to go everywhere. Yeah, it's escaping a bit, but... Okay, right. Do the best you can. Okay. Blow the bits out. And I'm going to do the same. There we go, guys. So the flour is done. In that goes here. And let's do the oats. Goes. Seal the oats. Okay, so guys, that's that. So let's just turn the straighteners off. Okay, so there we are, guys. So we have now 3 bags, okay? Question is, how long does it take for you to see the results, if you're going to get to see the results, guys? In this kind of bag, it takes about 4 to 5 hours to start to see it sinking in. It could take me before in the summer. I'm pretty sure it's taken me about 2 days. So it really depends, guys, on many things. And I think probably on, I would say maybe quality of oxygen absorber, guys. I don't know. But and generally you should start to see results within 5 hours. 100% in 2 days you should definitely see some result. Again, you might not see, guys, for it to be totally sucked in, but you should see a little bit that it is actually oxygen taken out, and it does look a little bit slimmer, and things are not sort of available to be moved so easily inside the bag. Guys, really, this is as simple as that. Again, questions of how long would that last in the Mylar bags? Well, if you use the correct oxygen absorber and your bag is not pierced and still safe, because they obviously don't let any light in, still ideally you have to keep them in a cool environment if possible, so there's not too much the temperature fluctuations. And generally, guys, things like the rice and beans will last you indefinitely, which is, I think, is brilliant investment. If you're considering, guys, to have or building up your preppers pantry, but the long-term preppers pantry, then obviously yes, the Mylar bags are ideal for that. If you follow the channel, generally you must know generally how the prepping pantry things work. You have your working pantry, middle-term pantry, and you have the long life pantry. So if you are looking to obviously buy the Mylar bags and put stuff away, it generally means that you are looking to keep the stuff there for a long time, not without being rotated, because, well, why on earth do you all spend so much money on the Mylar bags and oxygen absorber if you're only going to take this out like next year? Don't forget, many things like rices, oats are fine by themselves without needing to be repackaged for the good couple of years after the best before date, okay? So it's not a problem, so you needn't worry. So there we are. Anyway, I hope I have covered the 101 for the Mylar bagging. It is honestly straightforward. It's nothing, I know many of you said you're sort of a little bit scared that you're going to either waste the food or ruin the bags. It's nothing really you can do wrong apart from putting the wrong oxygen absorber. It's very easy, nothing to be scared about. It's just you buy food, you put the food, oxygen absorber, you seal it, put it away and let it be, and don't touch it. So if I missed anything to cover, guys, if you still have any questions about Mylar bags, please comment below, and otherwise don't forget thumbs up, maybe subscribe if you're not a subscriber, and I shall see you in the next video. Bye bye.